In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. We have a very special show for you tonight. As we come to the end of Women's History Month, we have a very special guest that's going to shed a lot of light on what it is for women's history. Our guest tonight is Dr. Katherine Washington Williams. She was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana, to Reverend Dr. Katherine Washington Williams is a proud daughter of the late George and Myrtle Washington. A graduate of Washington High School, she pursued higher education with passion and purpose, earning both an Associate and Bachelor's of Arts in Biblical Studies from Carolina College of Biblical Studies in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She later obtained a master's degree in marriage and family counseling from Liberty University and holds a doctorate in psychology from North Central University. Dr. Washington Williams honorably served 21 years in the United States Army. She broke barriers as the first African-American female to command veterans within the National Association of Black Veterans Incorporated, later becoming the first woman to oversee Region 8, spanning states and territories from North Carolina to Delaware. In her divine calling, Dr. Washington Williams serves as pastor of Chestnut AME Zion Church at Sanford, North Carolina, and previously as an elder at Johnsonville AME Zion Church in Cameron. Her ministry reflects her deep commitment to both the spiritual and social well-being of her community. Beyond the pulpit, Dr. Washington Williams is a community champion. She is a past worthy matron in the Order of the Eastern Star, an active member of the Buffalo Soldiers Great North Carolina chapter, a volunteer in Cumberland County Schools, and a dedicated advocate at the Durham VA Hospital. Her service also includes leadership in the National Pan-Hellenic Council and Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, where she has served in multiple executive roles. A 10-year survivor of triple-negative breast cancer, Dr. Washington Williams continues to walk in faith, holding close to her life in Scripture, Luke 8:48. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace. She is the devoted mother of two sons, Roy and Kevin Williams, and the proud grandmother of 9 grandchildren and 1 great-grandson. As CEO of Connections with Dr. K, PhD, LLC, she provides education and advocacy for veterans, mentorship for trauma survivors, and psychological care. Most recently, she launched the 3 T's, Trust, Truth, and Talk, a youth mentoring initiative focused on building communications and connections among middle and high school students. Whether serving as a spiritual leader, military trailblazer, or mental health advocate, Reverend Dr. Katherine Washington Williams lives a life rooted in faith, service, and healing. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the show Dr. Katherine Washington Williams.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me once again, Charles.
Yes, welcome back, welcome back. So is there anything you'd like to add to your bio before we get into the show?
No, that is so long, and you did a wonderful job. Thank you so much for saying who I was, even though that Sounds like somebody else. I'm grateful for all that I have done and service to my country and my community.
Well, you know something, as we get started and just talking about Women's History Month,
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that women have done or what they do
Yes.
that has not only come under scrutiny, but it's always been like a really repressive situation.
Mhm.
Like, what could you say to women today? As we talk about Women's History Month and some of the things that they should look forward to and what they can do to make a change.
So the Women History Month is so personal to me because for one reason, it gives us a chance to honor women who not only came before us, but those who are going to come after us. It gives us the opportunity to know that we are fighting for good causes when we are the first to do a lot of things as trailblazers, but also it gives us a moment to recognize the works that we're still doing because history doesn't stop just because you're the first to do it. That gives other people the opportunity to follow and do even greater things because you have set the bar and the standards to say, listen, people say you can't do it, but you can do anything if you put your mind to it. So for me, when I think about Women History Month, I think about all those who have fought for a greater cause to tell us that even though barriers were set up, even though strongholds were made, even though people said, listen, it can't be done or you shouldn't do it because of who you are, it just defined the odds of saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. So it gives me a proud privilege to say, never stop believing in yourself and never stop doing because somebody tell you can't.
So as we think about that, because I mean, I think that's really powerful.
Mhm.
What you was just speaking of. But let's say, with that mentorship program that you set up, how are
Okay.
the young girls coming through that program and setting standards of their own?
So they're getting more confident. This was the first week we had one, and one of the young ladies after that, she said that she didn't have confidence in herself. And a lot of times it's because nobody have taken the time. We always assume that children are young ladies and young men will be fine. Just go on with life because they have so many other things that are teaching them from TV to game, PS station, PlayStation. I think they told me PlayStation 4, teaching them how to be and how to act. And so one of the young ladies said to me, she said, this give me a chance to boost my confidence. I never had the opportunity to really speak up because as I was going through some of the process of getting them to know about the program and telling them the things that we were going to do, I told them, I said, what's one of the things or some of the things that you're lacking? And to hear a young lady say, I'm lacking confidence, it makes me think, wow, you're really lacking confidence. Today's women that are breaking barriers and doing things beyond measures, but you're telling me as a young lady that you lack confidence, and then it just took me back to when I was in the 7th grade. Did I have confidence? So I had to reality check me to say, okay, well, maybe I wasn't confident as I should have been. But then I thought about and we'll talk about this later. Those who took me in, my mother and my grandmother, those who set the standards, those who built me up. A lot of time women don't have people to build them up. So I thought about it and I relaxed and I say, honey, I got you. And sometimes we have to tell young people, I got you. And sometimes we have to, and not only just tell them, but really mean that we have them in a positive light to set standards before them. And then actually, Charles, it tells me that we have to share our story with them. Because a lot of times we're not sharing our stories with them. So they don't know the things that we've done. We are the first to do something in our community, or in the military, or, a lot of times they see people on TV or different things and say, oh, that's TV. But even in your community, even in your homes, even in your families, you've had some great women and great men, but I'm going to focus on the women today. But you have some great women that have done great things. So, we have to let them know that we are the light. We are the ones that are doing greater. We just have to show them and tell them our story. That's the most important thing because we are history. our story is history for our younger young ladies that are coming after us. And we have to set the standards and let them know we are the standards and we are the history.
So as you mentioned that, we're going to transition over to your illustrious military career. Because, when we talk about the barriers and standards that you set, especially, being a woman, it really says something, especially when we speak of the U.S. Army.
Yes.
So tell us what motivated you to join the Army and what was your experience like as a woman in the military?
Okay, good. So actually, my father was the one that really motivated me to be in the military because he served in the U.S. Air Force. But I wasn't interested in the Air Force, to be honest with you. I was interested in when I see all those be all you can be. Back in the days, the Army had all that great mottos, and I wanted to be all that I could be. And so I did those things. But for me, serving 20 years in the military, 20 plus years in the military, should I say, wasn't just about wearing a uniform, Charles. It was about proving that women belong in every space. Because I went in the early 80s and they was transitioning from the Women Army Corps into where women and men united with each other, stayed in the barracks together, and broke other barriers. And so it wasn't about just being a part of something. It's about proving to myself and to my family that I can do that. Coming from a small country town, you didn't hear a lot of people going into the military. So, and I was the first woman in my family to go into the military. That's number one. So my dad was proud of me and my family was proud of me. And so with that being said, when I went into the military, I did a lot of MOSs because I was military intelligence, but I also had to learn a lot of other MOSs because of the field that I was in. And I remember being told that I was going to go to Piney Point, Maryland to learn how to operate the Hagler crane because they had a mission for me. And I'm like, the Hagler crane, what is that? And I'm, because, again, this is the early 80s now, you don't hear too much about that. Women out in sea. And so this was this big old boom crane that goes underwater that does all of this stuff. And I was the only female there. And I looked around and I'm like, okay, where the rest of them at? And so I was the only female out there in my class. The first female to ever operate this Hagler crane. And as a matter of fact, I was number one in my class, to be honest with you. And so I was proud. I set the standards for others. And then after that, other classes came after me as they saw that women could do that. Now, we didn't have no elevator to take us from the top to the bottom. So you had to climb all these stairs high up and then climb them all back down and get back down. Operate a boom. They telling you to control. You got somebody telling you how to do things and teaching you how to do things. And I mastered that. I mastered that course. I didn't put the skills to use because I was going there for training to do certain things. But nevertheless, I mastered that course. And so then after that, I went on, left that job to go on to teach, and was the first female to teach AIT students at Fort Eustis, Virginia. Black female. Again, I set the standards as an E5, as a sergeant. And they welcomed me. Well, some of the people welcomed me, I'm gonna say that. But those who didn't welcome me, I was still proud of that because I did what I had to do as an instructor writer, wrote Army material, and then not only wrote it, but had to teach it. So my role was not traditional. It was traditionally held by men, but here I am, a woman breaking the barriers again while I was in the military. So it taught me that not only did I ask to make history, but my job was to excel in everything that I did so the military would not say that we could not do it. But in doing so, it helped open doors for other women who came behind me to show the military that, wait a minute, we're putting women in certain spots and we're seeing that they can do it. And today, women in the military are rangers, they're flying pilots, they're doing so many other things. We got generals and so many other great positions because of a lady that took a chance to break that barrier. And so I'm proud to say that I serve and I held those positions. The sad part about it is that a lot of the women history wasn't written down or recorded and it's being erased. And so we have to share our story and go back through the archives and tell the military I was the first one and give them dates so they can record those things there. Yes.
So can you share a memorable experience from your time in the Army that shaped your character?
Oh, wow. meeting females that did not look like me, that judged me because of the color of my skin, and then meeting male soldiers that did not look like me, but also judging who we were because if you're from a little country town, you're not used to the fast pace of people moving and doing things. But what the military taught me was that no matter how fast other people could run, because when you're taking a PT test or doing other things, somebody always going to be better than you. But it taught me that it didn't matter how fast others was doing it. As long as I did it at my pace and made it to the end, then I had succeeded or won. As you was in the military yourself, on the push-ups, you got to do so many push-ups. Now, I wasn't good at push-ups. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I didn't have the upper body strength. But if you get me to do some sit-ups and you get me to do runs, any runs, couldn't be the country girl like me, because I can with all of them. So it showed them that even some of the men, where we was out there running, I would just look at, my thing was, okay, who's in the lead? Who's running before me? And my goal was, okay, if I could catch this person up and pass this person, then okay, then let me get to the next one. So throughout my military career, my eyes was always on somebody else, because there's always going to be somebody else better than you. But you keep your eyes on them and you see what they're doing. And as they get ready to slow down, I can pass them now. So I think that the thing that shaped me to know that other people are going to succeed and do better than you, but that don't mean you stop. That means you push yourself beyond the limits to do a little better. And I think that's what really gave me the drive to stay in 20 years, because a lot of times, Charles, in my career, I wanted to give up.
But you know something? I think also what that shows is that I'm sure that, as you were mentioning, like the PT situation, that you could clearly see that you had the push, the wherewithal, and want to do it because you wanted to be great. Yeah. Where you might have a lot of men that probably wanted to do that same thing, but did not have the same drive.
Yeah.
And you further exceeded them. I mean, if such thing took place, I mean, like, what was that like, and did you let that be known?
I did not. Now, I'm a person. I'm gonna speak out regardless of what goes on. I'm an advocate. I tell people, even in my days in the military, when I see things that were not right, I spoke up. But it also, Charles, what it told me is sometimes you have to push other people because you see greater in other people. And in the military, taught me that even though we're individuals, we're not individuals. We're all on the same team. And so a lot of times it was like, when you at the finish line and you finish running, you go back and get other people. I know you did it yourself. You had to go back and get other people to say, hey, we're in this together no matter what. And so it gave me the drive to strive to know that, I might be the next person that fall behind, but somebody's going to encourage me and pick me up. So I think what the military had did was really open doors for me to say, that we leave no man behind. Number one, that's a true thing. And we are family, no matter the color, no matter what color we are, we're all in this together. So that gave me pride in serving my country. That told me that no matter what people are saying and no matter what people say, every one of us were a team player and we did look out for one another.
So how did your military service prepare you for your later roles in life?
Good question. So beyond my military career, to help me for my veteran service organization, as you know, I was the first female to command the National Veteran Service Organization in North Carolina as a state commander for the National Association of Black Veterans in a leadership role where commanding veterans across the state of North Carolina. And then after that, I became the Region 8 commander, which was the regions of North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. And it gave me the opportunity to serve veterans and be an advocate in D.C. and other places, at the White House and other places, to have a voice for veterans' rights and veterans' benefits. So it gave me a numerous time to make sure that I was sharing my voice for veterans' benefits and veterans' rights, and we were heard and respected by those. And Charles, not only that, it broke barriers. Too often veterans, and especially women and minority veterans, we struggle to get recognized and resources that we really deserve. So me stepping up into the leadership position at that time with the National Association of Black Veterans, it helped us to make sure that we always had veterans, even today, still have a voice to be heard. And becoming the first woman commander was humbling to me, Charles. It made me do a call to action. It wasn't just about a title that I had. It was about the service that I did for veterans and to veterans. I fought for better benefits for veterans. I fought for recognition for veterans. I fought for support for veterans. And not only veterans, but family members. If a veteran was deceased, then I had to continue to fight for the family member, from the children to the spouses, to get benefits and everything like that. So because history isn't just about breaking barriers, it's about making sure that others don't have to break them the same way I did. So benefits are still played into action today. Hopefully they will continue to, because we know people are still trying to take down and break down what we deserve as veterans and family members. But hopefully legislators and laws don't allow that to happen. But it tells me no matter what we did, we have to help one another, and we have to keep being an advocate for everybody, for the least of them out there today.
So, were there any specific challenges you faced as a female veteran, and how did you overcome them?
Being a single mom, that meant I had to be twice as strong. I wasn't just responsible for my soldiers, Charles. I was responsible for my children as well. And there was days when I was in the field, I had to push through grunting exercise, field exercise training, knowing that at the end it would all be over with soon. I still had to be my mom. Still had to be a mom. And balancing these things wasn't always easy, Charles, but it made me a better leader. You know, it taught me resilience. It taught me patience. It taught me the power of pushing forward, no matter the obstacles that got in my way. My children saw their mom, and they often tell me, and I thank God for them. They often tell me, "Mom, we're proud of you." But they saw their mom serving, leading, and breaking barriers, you know. And that to me was one of the greatest lessons, Charles, that I could give them, showing them that no matter what happens, that whatever life throws you, you keep going. And it also taught me that I had to depend on my mom, because a lot of times when I was deployed, I couldn't be mom. I couldn't worry about my children. So I had to rely on my parents to help me raise my children. And that was sometimes, that's hard when you have to go out to war, you have to go out to various training exercises, or you have to leave and go overseas for 2 years. And, you know, even though you're going to come back for vacation or whatever, not leave, should I say, it's hard to leave your family. It's hard to leave your children behind, knowing that somebody has to take care of them, because you as a mother, as a woman, can't do it because of your obligation to the military.
Wow. You know, I tell you, you just showed a lot of strength, more than just resiliency, but you showed that, this shows that you're proof positive of what it is to stand strong amongst all of the craziness, because that craziness never stops.
It never
stops. But you made it through all of that because of your wherewithal, and that you were determined to make it there.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we need to make sure we give you that clap for that, because you deserve that. You really do.
Thank you.
So tell us, what skills or lessons from your military service do you apply to your civil careers?
Patience. Being a psychologist, if nothing else, the military taught me that I have to learn to listen to everybody. Because in the military, we are from all backgrounds of life. We all have different stories. We all have different problems. We all have different beliefs. We're all from different cultures, and none of us think alike. And so with my degree in psychology, when I'm talking to people or when I'm interacting with people, even as a pastor, when people come at you with different things, it teaches me, listen, life doesn't change. You might change careers from being a soldier to being a pastor to being a counselor, a psychologist. It teaches me that I have to listen. I have to pray. I have to think before I speak. And most of all, Charles, I have to remain humble, no matter what. I don't care if people put you on a pedal. Somebody can always knock you down from that pedal. So you always have to be humble in all that you do. And then you have to learn to appreciate people. You have to learn to appreciate people.
So, how has being a veteran influenced your approach to leadership in your professional life?
Hardcore. Hardcore, um, so let me give it to you from a pastoral thing. And in the military, we know we have to deal with a lot of male. It's a male world. And so when you transitions from man's army to God's army, sometimes we see the same role. A lot of men are put in position of leadership. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, because it's just life in general. But it has taught me that just like in the military, you have to wait to be promoted. And even in the the pastoral ranks, you have to wait to be promoted. But it taught me that no matter what, whatever God has for you will be for you, and you just have to wait your turn. Sometimes we're in a rush to be a sergeant, but with all ranks that we come through, Charles, all ranks that we meet, comes more responsibility. And sometimes we think we're ready for those roles and positions, but God sees more than we sees, and he knows more than we know. So we have to humble ourselves and say, okay, Lord, not my time, but your will. And then know that it will. So throughout the years, if nothing else, it's taught me remain faithful, remain patient, and trust God.
So, do you think that your military experience has provided a unique perspective in your work as a pastor and mental health professional?
I do. With the military, I'll share something with you all. In the military, I had a soldier that committed suicide on me. I went up and grabbed him to get him down from the rope that he had hung himself with, as me and the lieutenant went in to get him. And in my mind, I still see that. And to me, it made me want to help people, want to save people, as should I said, for better lack of terms. And so even today, that's my role. When I became a psychologist and when I started being a family and marriage counselor, the only thing I wanted to do was help the family stay together, help family understand why we do certain things, I want to help that parent understand why that soldier took his life, and even in death, yourself, when you're dealing with death, you want to help people understand that even though death is not easy to understand, we trust God. And so I think that while I was a soldier, I didn't understand where my life was headed. I didn't know the plans that God has for me, but God knew the plans he had. So everything that I went through in life as a female soldier, as a woman, then God was preparing me for such a time as these. And so it made me stronger. Now as my parishioners go through death, I'm able to help them cope in a better way, because not only the military helped me with death, so did my profession as a psychologist, and now as a pastor. Those roles all came into place. So it helped me understand and helped me able to explain to people better now things. And hopefully I'm doing what God has called me to do when I'm able to tell them, about grief and everything else. So I think everything played the biggest role, because I'm more sympathetic and more compassionate to when grief is on a person, because I've been through it myself. So I understand how to administrate, I'm going to call it an antidote of more love toward a person, more softness toward a person, because I feel their hurt, and I'm able to understand that hurt. And then I'm more willing or more acceptable to help them with that hurt.
So, how important is it for women in the military to support one another, and what role have you played in that?
Wow. Actually, good question. We have to be each other the biggest cheerleader because so often in life, women put one another down, and you know it in the military, even for promotion and everything else from jobs, whatever. Not, it's no different than the world. But I learned that first of all, you have to get yourself some positive people around you, females, and a lot of you. I was fortunate not to be in no female MOSs. Nothing soft. I've always been around a lot of male MOSs. So I didn't really have to deal with a lot of females. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't have
Mhm.
the cat fights or whatever not. But being around a lot of males has taught me that number one, they was always protective of me. But then when I did get around females, I was the one that always wanted to be the friends. So and then I would always tell them that, hey, we have to stick together. There are more males in our unit than there are females. So we have to watch out for one another. When we went to the shower, we would gather all around and we would go to the shower together, especially in the field. If we went somewhere when we was overseas and stuff, we would always go as a group, as a team, and we had to look out for one another. But we took some guys with us now, but we knew that always we had to always be accountable to one another, and look out for one another. So even today, it has taught me that even while in the military, in the world, it's the same way. You need sisters, I call them. Have a sister circle, a tight group of people that you can talk to, that you can encourage, that you can be their cheerleader, that you can tell, hey, life is better. I know in my sorority, I'm in Sigma Gamma Rho. We're one of the best sororities ever. Shout out to them. I tell people, I said, we're a tight group of people, as small in some eyes of some sorority eye, but so big in love. And so we come together in unity with each other and support each other. I don't care if you're having a baby, a wedding, whatever not. We're always there showing up and showing out for one another. So it's just taught me, just like the military, always be available for one another.
So, what advice would you give to young women considering a career in the military?
Okay. First of all, be ready, be strong, keep pushing forward. You belong in every room, in every field, in every leadership position, no matter what. You can be the first. Be proud of that. But don't be the last. I tell anybody, you can be the first at everything, but don't be the last. Lift as you climb. And to all those who are still serving, Charles, I want them to know that your service matter. You are part of the legacy of strong, capable women who are helping shape the military and will continue to do so no matter what. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, that you cannot do it.
So, how do you perceive the evolving role of women in the armed forces?
We are doing a great job. We can continue to do a great job. We just have to be given a chance to show that we can do anything. Some of our roles are being taken away from us.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remain positive, and I'm be honest with you, because I don't want to be radical. But Charles, let me say this: women have always been in a leadership role,
Mhm.
even before the military. We've
Mhm.
been in leadership roles in slavery, and we didn't even know we were in leadership role, capable of making decisions in even the master's house. We were
Mhm.
making decisions uh,
Mhm.
and taking care of people. Women
Mhm.
have always, especially African American women, I just don't want to focus on us, but women have always done great. And so um, the legacy that we have and the leadership that we are capable of should never be counteract about we can't do it because of our character, of our muscle strength, or because our ability. Women are the leaders in education. Do the
Mhm.
survey. I've done the research.
Mhm.
Whether we are put in that position or not, but we're the most educated person in the world. Just given the chance, we can do anything. And
Mhm.
since you brought up Pandora's box, let me go ahead and open it, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
I look at
Mhm.
the Vice President of the United States. She was in a position to be the first female president, but because of uh, ignorancy on people's parts,
Mhm.
because of people not wanting a woman in position and other things, it did not happen. But having looked back over our life since November,
Mhm.
many people right now want that woman in charge. I wish they would have put that woman in charge. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm trying to be nice, Mr. King. I'm trying to be nice. Um,
Mhm.
and I hope this show go far because I'm saying it with such authority and boldness.
Mhm.
We're taking a hit. But
Mhm.
having a black woman in any position will be greater than you ever would know. We're stronger, we're organized, and we're capable of doing anything. All you have to do is be willing to give us a chance. We can move mountains with God. I'm not saying on our own, but with God, we know that we can move mountains. We've been moving mountains since slavery. Go back and look up your history. From
Mhm.
day one, from the day God created us, we've been moving mountains, and we're going to continue to move mountains, regardless of what's put in front of us.
Okay, let's transcend to another part again of your illustrious career and the things that you're doing.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about now, your life as a pastor.
Okay.
Now, you know that we're here in this wonderful southern region of the country
Okay.
where pretty much being a pastor and being a woman is like that's not taboo. And that's something that, they fight against that all day, tooth and nail, and will fight it from as many ways as they can. But apparently, women like yourself refuse to let that happen.
Mhm.
So tell us what inspired you to pursue a calling as a pastor.
Okay. So first of all, I have to give credit to my bishop, W. Darren Moore. Right now, Charles, he is a bishop. Not only him, other male bishops in the Amazon Church and actually the United Methodist Church and other churches are seeing that women are capable of positions and roles. Um, I've waited 23 years as an elder deacon all throughout my tenure of being in other positions. Um, and here comes Bishop Darren D. Moore, W. Darren Moore. I'm sorry, let me get this name right. W. Darren Moore. He saw something in me after much prayer to God for me to lead his sheeps. And I tell you, I'm grateful for that. Um, I've met other women who have first time pastored, even in the white church. They're in leading roles now. So I'm going to say God has caused a shift in the faith of people to know that women are capable of leading the flock.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm grateful for my role as my position to pastor Chestnut Amazon Church. I love them. I tell them my love song for them is "I Can't Stop Loving You" by Ray Charles. Um, that's my theme song. No matter what, I can't stop loving them. And because that's just the love I have for them. But women are moving, Charles. Women are moving into position of leadership when it comes to the movement of religion, and I hope we will continue to move even in the Catholic Church and other churches. We're moving into those positions. So somebody, and I'm gonna give God the credit. God is seeing greater in us, and He's softening the hearts of leaders, male leaders, to show that we can do all things through Him.
So, how do you integrate your military background into your pastoral care?
Charles, I have a story to tell, but it's not the time and place. I will say this much. Uh, I do. That's another subject for another day. But I will say this part. Um, I went for help in the military through a military chaplain,
Mhm.
and something happened. I will say that much. That led me to where I am today.
Mhm.
Um, I had stopped at one time in my life, um, believing and trusting God because of what had happened with the military chaplain. I will say that much. Um,
Mhm.
Well, I will tell this much. I was raped by a military chaplain, and I didn't have no belief in God because I was like, God, I was going for help, and how can that happen? And then, but what I found out that what the devil meant for my bad, God turned it around to me for my good, because I was called into the ministry because of that, to help and open the doors for other people. And then how it came into my psychology degree is I wrote my dissertation on the rape of military females. So God would take what was supposed to be a bad situation and turn it down to the most positive situation that will be very impactful in your life. Because now I'm concentrating on traumatic event for young women, that these things could happen to, not just by other pastors, but just family members and others that, over the years, that are telling me they're traumatized by family members, being sexual assaulted, sexual molested by family members and by friends, and etc. So what the devil meant for my bad, God turned it around and meant for my good, because here I am now. I can pastor people, and I can understand the hurt that they've been through because of things that happened in my past.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Can you share how your faith journey has been influenced by your experiences both in the military and beyond?
Uh, I had strong parents. I had a strong parents. You know, being that my mom and dad always had us at church or in the church, I never stopped. And like I said, when I didn't want to believe, God took a bad situation and make it better for my life. And so my faith has always been there. And that's why my favorite scripture is, daughter, because of your faith, that has been made whole. And I tell people, because of that, uh, everything that I've been through, from a heart attack to breast cancer to brain surgery, it just made me want to believe, want to trust God, because I couldn't do nothing on my own. It had to be because of him. So because of my faith and knowing that God was the one that helped me, it made me continue to be who I am today.
So, what are some of the most rewarding aspects of your work as a pastor?
Loving people and helping people, and seeing that that especially people that believe, but yet when they go through situations in life, grow stronger in Christ because of situations. I always tell people, when life punch you in the gut,
Mhm.
you have faith, but there's going to be something that's going to take the wind from beneath your wings, and you're going to feel like you're falling. But then all of a sudden, he's going to catch you and lift you up higher. And when I see that, and I see them get stronger because of their faith, and knowing that, wait a minute, I was down, but now I'm stronger, it makes me say, that's the God in them. And so it's moments that you can see how God is working it out for their favor, that makes me want to say, yes, Lord, more so to a lot of things. Yes.
So, can I ask you this? Do you think that also, in the process of being a pastor and with you also being a mother, that it helps you more with your nurturing, the accepting and the loving of your servants, to where they have more of that wanting to be more for, just what it is that you have to give the congregation?
I think so too, Charles. It's really about compassion. But and I'm gonna tell you something. I think the more you are around your congregation, the closer you walk to God. Because sometimes when you see things that go on in life, you're like, "Ooh, Lord, you done pushed me in the gut again," and it makes you stronger. And so
Right.
you have to you have to show everybody your strength, your belief. You are the leader, so you can't make, you can't allow them to, I tell myself, I can't have weak moments. I have to show strength when I'm around my congregation, and not only them, but I have to walk a life that say, I am who God called me to be. This is not a play. I'm not on the scene or act. I'm not on TV. This is who God called me to be, and I have to walk in that all the time. And so it makes me want to live the life that truly I'm called to live. And I
Mm.
got to plug up this computer, Charles. Okay, I'm back. I'm here.
So, how do you address mental health issues within your congregation?
With them, my doors are always open, and I tell them all the time that if they need to talk to me, I'm always available. In the past, when I have talked to people in congregations about mental health, I do it one on one. I used to do, and I used to do group study for military, well, group for military sexual trauma to women who want to come in on a Saturday at one of the previous churches, and I'm thinking about starting that in the community again soon. But my doors is always open for anyone that want to come in. A lot of people like to call you and talk to you about things that are going on. I'm always available, but I let them know that there's a difference between the Christian counseling that I would give them when they come to me in that capacity, because I don't do the circular counseling in the to them in there. I might refer them because they are my congregation. I will refer them to someone else. But if they need Christian counseling, they tell me they tired of burnout, I will give them things that can help them, because I'm not there to counsel them for their health, but I'll give them Christian counseling, should I say.
So, in what ways do you believe your role as a pastor contributes to your community?
Well, number one, in the community, I'm a voice, not only for God, but I'm a voice for the people. When I see wrongdoing that's going on in the community, whether it's let me tell you about the homeless people. You see a lot of people down around here about homeless or have to sign up. I'm always trying to give them good advice, not only spiritual advice, but good advice on how to get these free resources of sleeping arrangements, or either where they can get free meals or whatever not. As pastors, we are supposed to and should always be resourceful and have numbers on hand if they need emergency service or whatever not. And so I always try to pass that along to them, knowing that my job is not just my job is beyond the four walls of the church. My job is when I see someone in need or hurt, I'm always trying to render aid and compassion. And I'll tell you an incident that happened. Two Fridays ago, I had just got out of the revival, and a young man was laying in the middle of the street, an African American man, and here nothing but police was around him. They was getting ready to take him in. Of course, if they would have took him in, then he would have had to stay in there for a certain amount of time. Well, I told him, hey, I know him. He lived right in my neighborhood. I put him in the Jeep. I told him, hey, let me take him home. Now, did I know him? God forgive me. I did not know him, but I asked him his address. And I told him, you ain't got to worry about nobody. You got to worry about me if you try to harm me. And I took him home, and he got out and went there. But I did not want him, number one, to go to jail for being intoxicated in public, and I know that I helped him. But to me, that's my role as a pastor. That's something that I think if Jesus was on the scene, he would have done. He would have gave us a second chance, because we all need second chance. So when I see situations that I know I can help, I'm going to do that. And then I told the officer who I was, identified, I do mental health, and maybe he's in a crisis like that. I started, doing an intervention and tell them, let me help him in other ways, because he was disoriented in certain things. So I just try to be me, Charles. I can't be nobody but me, to help those who I can help when I can help them.
And so, how do you balance your responsibilities as a pastor with your past experiences and current roles?
Whew, balance. Sometimes my plate is full, to be honest with you, because I try to do too much. So what I try to do is I try to take breathers. I don't take vacations. I'm gonna be honest with you, but so the way I balance it is I plant. I have a garden in my house. That's number one. I work on a lot of puzzles. I put them on Facebook. I do beads and jewelry. I don't have mine on because I took them off already. And then I go to bed sometime at 4:45 in the afternoon. Yes, I'm in bed. I believe in mental health breaks, meaning shut down your phone, get in bed. You don't have to go to sleep. but you must do something. I got a book called The Body is Its Own Kept Secret. I'll read that book. And I got other regulations, military regulations book. I'm getting ready to take another test certification. So I'll read those books or do something that is for me. I do me, whatever I like to do. But I will not answer the phone unless it's emergency. And I do have it on, where I'm listening, or I'm looking, and I hear the voicemail. If it's a church member, I'm gonna answer it. If I'm my sibling, I'm gonna answer. But if it's just anybody that want to talk, baby, I'm shutting you out and down. So I would balance it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Friday nights are my night to just relax. I catch up on work and everything else, because by Wednesday I'm already having my sermon prepped and ready. Thursday I type it up. Friday I look over it again. But Friday night I'm in the bed chilling at 6 o'clock. I might talk to one of my friend girls on the phone and stuff like that. I might talk to you sometime on the phone, But after that, by 7 o'clock on a Friday night, I'm sleeping. And I do get up early. People say, what time you get up? Probably about 4 in the morning or maybe 5, so I'm
on that military time.
Yes, I'm still good. Well, actually, I'm ready for, summer to come so I can get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start going out and walking and stuff like that, But I have George with me, so I'm really never afraid.
So, what challenges do you face as a female leader in a predominantly male space?
Charles, I don't face none. Other people might, but I really don't. I'm very vocal. When I want my voice to be heard, it will be heard. Other than that, I know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to let go. See, to me in life, it's not really about fighting. It's about allowing people to be heard. And I learned one time from a pastor that everything people say, there are two things that you can do. You can swallow it and keep it, or you can regurgitate it and let it go. And that's my life. That's been my life model, while I was in school. Either I keep it or I let it go. And that's what keep me balanced and grounded. So I really don't face no challenges with anybody. I'm just like, okay.
So how do you encourage women in your congregation to find their voices and leadership roles?
I put them in position. A lot. If you don't know me, you know me now. The ladies in my congregation, they'll tell you the truth. They know. A lot of them tell me, Pastor, I've never done this before. I've never been in a leadership. Nobody never gave me the opportunity to lead. And I said, well, baby, now you are. A lot of times people have it in them. It's just that we don't give them the opportunity, because we're always putting people that have done it before in those spaces. But I look at people and I'm like, you're not doing anything. So now let me give you a position. And I mean, you see greater coming out of these people. You're like, okay, you had this in you all the time. And so I think it's about working together. The Bible declares that there are, one body, but many parts. And so if it's one body and many parts, why not use every part? So everybody in the church should be working. And that's how I put them all. Everybody has a job, even the children. Everybody has a job.
Oh, wow. So what legacy do you hope to leave within your church and community?
That there was a light in the church and it shined bright. That's it. There was a light in the church and it shined bright.
Well, let's transition to another part of your illustrious career as a mental health professional.
Okay.
And please tell us all what led you to pursue a career in mental health, and how does it connect to your earlier experiences?
So I told you what happened to me while I was in the military, and it did traumatize me. And for years, I didn't tell anybody about what had happened. Well, when it happened, I did, but it was because it was an officer. I was told, oh, okay, and they moved him. They moved him to overseas, and it left me just there in this space. Nobody did anything else. I didn't get the help or nothing. And so throughout the years, it made me want to fight. And when I say fight, I mean, I'm talking about being strong, be on defense now. If somebody came close to me, I was tight, until one day a woman named Sheila Campbell. Um, she and I are still great friends today. She saw something in me, and she and I talked, and I opened up to her and told her about what had happened. And when I told her about what had happened, we shared some things and everything, and I still didn't get help, but at least I felt good talking to an officer about what had happened. And then I met another young lady, Tabitha Hodge. And us three, we formed and through great women, great military women who was in the military with me, they saw greater in me, and I began to break down walls of, what was going on with me and not having to be tied in. But for years, you can't tell anybody because nobody would believe you. And so, when I went to school the first time, it was biblical study because I wanted to know about why ministers, men who are called, would hurt someone. So that's why I got a degree in biblical studies. I want to understand the word of God. And then you telling me one of your servants would do that. And then after that, wanted to do family and marriage, the dynamics of family, divorcing and all kind of things, and why children are not talking to parents, parents are not talking to children, why the dynamics of family is no longer what family should be. Look like what my family looked like. My mom and dad had stayed together until they was deceased, And when I became a person in the military, everybody was breaking up a split. And I'm like, whoa, this the family dynamics? So it wasn't like that. And then after that, I began to want to help people. I began to hear ladies coming, just talking to me about their story, about their rape while they were within the military. And I wanted to be more trained to be able to help. And so I went on to get a degree in psychology because I want to understand the mind, why anyone would be able to hurt someone. And we're all human beings. So that's how every role connected to one another.
So how do your experience in the military inform your understanding of mental health issues?
Ooh, honey, we got a lot to work on. We got a lot to work on. Yes, indeed. The military got a lot to work on, and I just have to be honest with you. It's a push pill on the patients in the military, even in the veterans, in the VA system. Push pills on the patient. Let them take the pill to make them better. Or put everybody in a group. Let them talk. Everybody don't belong in a group. Every evaluation should be different. Check the box, even when you're going for your exam. Do you feel suicidal? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? Sometimes it's not about checking those blocks. Sometimes it's about putting that paper aside and just talking to that person. Just getting to know that person and why you're like that. The book I'm reading, Charles, and before I leave, I want to go and get this book, and I want your readers to read it because it's about a doctor who took time to understand veterans. About the body is a capsule. Our body keeps its own secrets.
Yes.
The pain, the hurt, everything that we go through. And I would recommend any veteran, anybody that has been through trauma, to read that book. It would help you understand why you can't get rid of the pain, why you keep so much in you, why you hurt so bad, and why you hurt people, because all their lives, someone has hurt them.
So in other words, are you saying that leads credence to the cliche of hurt people hurt people?
Yes, and heal people, help people. And that's so true. And that's why today I thank God for healing, because I'm able to help other people there. But as long as you hurt, you can't help anybody.
What particular mental health challenges do you see affecting women today?
The belief of trauma experience. Many women, I'm just not talking about women, many young girls, when they are sexually assaulted, sexually abused, whether it's verbal or either sexual, they're not believed. Domestic violence, a lot of things are not believed because in life, the persona of, hey, I'm Mr. King and I'm this good person. People see you as one person, but at home, you're get there and do that and blah, blah, blah. You're another person. that personality comes out. And so when people see you as that, they don't understand that when women tell you, my husband beat me, or my girlfriend, or whatever, not they should be, that's another story for another day. But anyway, it happens. And we don't want to tell the true story that it happens, you know. And so I tell people that we have to start hearing and listening and believing that it happens.
So tell us, how do you approach working with clients from diverse backgrounds?
I treat all people as one. I don't look at the race. I listen to the story, because to me, it's about what they're going through or what they want to share with me. And then I deal with the right now situation. Every one of us are human beings. So we we need to stop putting us in categories. We know we're different, but when you come into me and you become a client, then that's what you are. You're not a color. You're a client. And so I treat you as a client, not a color, not a gender. I treat you as a client that need help. And then I ask you, what would you like? What it is that you want to do? Because sometimes you know the problem and you know the solution. These therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists, we just have to bring it out of you.
So tell us what your process looks like from beginning with the intake to the end when you completed your session with your client. Take us through that process.
Okay, easy. So normally people will call the office and they would get a return call, because everything goes to voicemail. We do a screening. I do a phone screening just to make sure, because sometimes people just want to talk, and they'll get a phone screening and another assessment on what they really want to be seen for, because people sometimes, I do a lot of psychoeducation. And people want to be educated on a different process, and then they'll come in, and then I'll do a intake on, ask a series of questions, about your background, about your age, about what brought you in here today, about what are you trying to, what's your goal, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's drug, whether it's, different things, because different sessions, I do different sessions, whether it's trauma, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, because different people have different things. And then once I do that, I normally put everything into the computer to calculate really what's going on. And then it tells me exactly, do you need to see a therapist, a social worker, a psychiatrist, or can you see me? I don't do a lot of counseling, I will tell you that. What I do is I do education on your problem. And once I do the education on your problem, psychoeducation, I tell people, I'll educate you about, say, if you have anxiety, I will give you tools to help that. And then I will recommend a psychologist, or I'll recommend a therapist to you, depending on whether you need meds or whether you just need counseling. And I go from there. And then after that, some people won't just for Social Security disability. They need letters for Social Security disability via whatever not, and I go from there. But I have different things that I do within the office. So it really depends on what you come in there for.
Can you share a success story from your work as a mental health professional?
Yes. Young man, military. He was on the blink of suicide. I will share this with you. No name, no nothing. He was on the blink of suicide. He actually was going to plan on committing that day. Walked into my office by mistake. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even a client. He was looking for someone else. And they had moved out of the office I was in. And he said, well, that's good, because I really didn't want to see that person. And I'm like, oh, okay, so what's up? And he said, nothing. I'm just going to go do what I have to do, and I'm going to get it over with. And I don't know why. I just said, well, what you going to do? And he said, oh, it ain't important. And so I said, okay. I said, well, have you ever been in the military? And he said, I did. And so I just started talking to him. I didn't say nothing, because he didn't ask us. Connections with Dr. K, that's all it is in the sign says. It don't say anything else. And I'm like, oh, me too. I was in the military. And then he said, yeah, what branch? I said, Army. He said, well, I was in the Marine. I said, okay, you old devil dog, jarhead. You know how we start teasing each other. And he started laughing. So I got a smile out of him. And then after that, we just started talking about all kind of things. And then before it ended, he said, ma'am, I'm so glad that I came in here. I came in here to see someone else, but I really was going to end my life. I was going to
Oh,
hurt them.
wow.
He said I was going to hurt them because they did nothing for me. But here you are, you helped me. And I thank God because I didn't know he had a gun on him and everything like
Oh,
that.
wow.
But I thank God that he got the help that he need. And then after that, I did call 911 after that. And before he got to his car, I called him back and I told him, I said, hey, let me have a word with you again. And then the police did come because that's my job. We have to do that. And they did take him in, and he was grateful that I did call 911. He told me that he thanked me while they was taking him in. They didn't handcuff him or anything. Paramedics came to get him, and he just thanked me. So I was grateful for that moment. Sometimes we don't know why God will put people in our life or why God would do things to us, but we have to learn to be grateful for moments that when people do come, and I don't always be scared of people coming into our lives.
Well, you know something, you're definitely special. And I want you to know that that's a moment that I'm sure that has touched a lot of people, because there are a lot of people that's always in crisis that
Yeah.
are walking around here today.
Yes.
And, sometimes they don't get lucky to fall into
Yeah.
situations like this guy did with
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
And it's like they're just out there and they just kind of like just run rampant, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is definitely a very special moment.
Yes.
In your opinion, what role does spirituality play in mental health and healing?
Man, to be honest with you, it should play the biggest role. Um, Church and the state of the world needs to be at hand in hand right now. And I say that because we need prayer. Number one, we need prayer because um, they're taking away a lot of medical stuff. And when we look at mental health, I'm hoping they never touch mental health crisis since before COVID, but COVID made it worse because of who was in office. Tell the truth and shame the devil, telling people to take Clorox and all kind of other stuff for that, and people doing all kind of foolishness. But we really need help, and the church is the spiritual hospital. I tell people, and people say, "Well, nah, it is. It's where you go there for healing and help and hope." That through a positive word of God, that whatever you're going through, it'll fall off your shoulder, and you burn out because of life happening. And here you go to the house of the Lord and you hear something uplifting, an uplifting message about hope, about what people have endured before, and you get that message in you, and you can go through and you can run that race. Well, when you're going through mental health problems and you want help, and nobody will help you, because sometimes people don't know what you're going through. You take so much with you. People saying God is able. Yes, God is able, but God is saying, so are you. And sometimes the pastors have to be the biggest encourager to tell people that, listen, you got this. On Sunday mornings when we preaching those messages are just not for the congregation, they for us too, because we're going through. And so we have to tell ourselves we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We got this. The mountain may seem high, but God has given us wings of an eagle that we can fly high. We're not chickens anymore where we got to peck on the ground and keep being down here. We're the head and not the tail. We're above and not beneath. We got to give uplifting messages to the congregation that are going through. Their trouble may last sometime, but it doesn't last always. Sleeping may, I tell people, I say joy may, weeping may endure for a night, but joy gonna come in the morning. Go ahead and cry those tears. It's okay to cry, but guess what? Tomorrow it's gonna be a better day because the sun will shine. So I tell people all the time, we're gonna go through some storms in life as long as we're living. But James tells us to count it all joy when we go. James 1 tells us to count it all joy when we go through trials and tribulations, Charles. None of us are exempt. We just got to learn to keep our eyes on the Lord as we go through things.
Mm.
You know.
Ooh, that was powerful. I love that.
Yes. Thank you.
How do you advocate for mental health awareness in your community?
So, I'm a big help. I'm telling people all the time about, if you need help, go get help. There's nothing wrong with it. Even if you feel like talking to somebody, come talk to me if nobody else, because I'm going to tell you all the resources that I have available. There's free help. At the hospital, there's free crisis line that are done, depending on what kind of help you need. Because see, people think mental health are for crazy people. Mental health is not for crazy people. Mental health are for people that are burnt out. Mental health is for people that are tired. There are different type of mental health, and I tell you that, Charles, because we can have an accident. An accident could scare us so bad that it traumatizes us, and all
Yep.
of a sudden we're traumatized by just driving a car. And it's nothing wrong with us. We're just traumatized by driving a car. So I tell people there's different levels of trauma in life. And whether you want to call it mental health, I just call it healthier health. We need to probably rename some things in life. Just getting healthier. Take a break, take a vacation or a staycation, any kind of cation, long as you're taking it and getting away from the life that is dragging you down, the life that is making you depressed, that life is bringing you a burden. Get with family and friends to lift you up. Sometimes you have to tap out. I do a tap, Catherine. That's why I told you. All right. I look at the clock. All right. I know what time it is. I tell people tap out. Even from people, Charles, we have to learn to tap out from people. Every now and then. Oh, hey, look, you on the phone? Yeah, I'm on the phone, babe. I was on there too. Wait, let me call you back, okay? And thank you, Lord. And just tap out.
So, what resources or tools do you recommend for individuals seeking to improve their mental health?
Therapy. Talk to your doctor if you don't have a primary care doctor. Charles, I'm gonna tell you something. So when just say I'm gonna use anxiety for example. If someone is going through anxiety, you know, puzzles are the best thing. It teaches you patience. There's a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you got to put this thing together. You got to figure out where the pieces go. Listen, that's a part of a mental exercise. Because 1,000 pieces, you can't just throw them all together and they don't fit where you think they're gonna fit. When you look at that piece of puzzle, they might look like they fit there, but they really don't. So I tell people, get you a puzzle. If you suffer from anxiety, if you suffer from all kind of things, get you a puzzle. Even children, I give, even when you tell people tell us I'm having memory loss or different things, get you a puzzle. Start working on that 1,000-piece puzzle. Get you a coloring book, get you certain things, painting, do anything from painting to gardening, to do anything that's going to help your mind. We have to learn to activate our mind, because it's called activate your faith. I'm going down, I'm getting depressed. Okay, well, get out of that depression. What shall I do? Read a book, something powerful, something joyful. I got numbers of books. If people ever want to do them, tell them contact me. I got connections, drk@gmail.com with a K, connections with a K. And I'll give you books to read. They short books. They don't have to be nothing long. That will uplift you. That will keep you going. And you're like, oh, I like this book. It helped you with your depression. It helped you with stress. It helped you with anything that you're going through. I have numerous of books to help you with them.
So, how do you remain grounded and take care of your own mental health in such a demanding profession?
Talk to Charles King daily. Listen, while we was in school, the running joke is the therapist, the psychologist need a psychologist.
Right.
And so, we all have to get someone that we talk to, a partner. Excuse me for 1 second. So make sure you have friends that you can talk to, that you can relate to. And I don't know if people know it or not, but me and you talk every other day or whatever, not, as friends and stuff, because we were in the military together. And I
Mhm.
found laughter and love in you, being a friend of mine, because I can talk to you about and be mad as ever, and you'll have me laughing, or vice versa. We can express ourselves to one another. But get you someone that you can talk to and confide in and trust, and know that they're going to give you sound advice about something and not tell you anything harmful. And then keep it moving.
Mhm.
Keep it moving. That's life. And then I have siblings too, Charles. Every one of my siblings really know me. All four of my siblings really know me. We talk daily. When I tell you we talk daily, Charles, we talk daily. I mean, getting up in the morning, they call and we texting each other, good morning, family, check in, 411, 911, what's going on? God bless you. We send positive affirmation to each other throughout the day. Even my sister-in-laws and the children, the nieces and nephews, the firstborn nieces and nephews, or maybe the second born, I don't know, but they're on there, and everybody's positive about something. We always give everybody positive affirmation. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to someone considering a career in mental health?
Be ready to cry. Be ready to find out some truth about yourself, because before you can help anybody else, when you start taking those classes, you're going to find self in a lot of situations. And if you're not ready to deal with your own issues, you can not
Mhm.
help anybody else deal with their issues. So be ready to have a lot of tissues. Be ready to stay up a lot of nights. Be ready to not go on vacations with family and friends when it's time, especially if you're going for a PhD or MD in that. Be ready to just miss everything, because it's about dedication to the job, and it's about dedication to reading. Even now, we have to do continuous education. You know, we're always reading and building better, because we finding new cases to study. And I'm getting ready to study one about something. When I talked to a doctor today, she said, I would love to see the research on it. Well, I said, yeah, I need to research on it because it's happening to me. Um, Fibromyalgia and pain, how do we deal with it from a mental capacity of it, dealing with daily pain of not being able to find a cure or pill for that. But mentally, how does it weigh down on you? So be ready to just work and be dedicated to it. It's not every field that we want to go into is not for you. You have to find your field in life, Charles. And once you find it and can master it, then go for it. Yeah.
Okay, and so now this brings us to our last part
Mhm.
of the show. We do Black History 365.
Okay.
And in speaking to you, you mentioned that the influences, the people that had the most influence on your life
Mhm.
and your career were Miss Myrtle Washington and Miss Leola Sam.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us who were Myrtle Washington and Leola Sam, and what impact did they have on your life?
Excellent. So my mom, Myrtle Lee Washington, well, Sam Washington, she was the backbone of our family. She just didn't raise me and my four siblings, Charles. She helped reared my children while I was in the military, as well as other grandchildren, all their lives. Most of our grandchildren stayed with my mom and dad all their lives. I'm talking about till they got 18 and out of the house, ensuring that we all had the foundation, and we needed to be successful in life. And
Mhm.
from being nurses to being principals to being doctors to being very successful police officers, to whatever career we had, truck drivers, to managers at CEOs and bases and different things. That's what we did. That's what her children and grandchildren are today. Very successful basketball, raising college basketball stars. My mom had an influence on all of those things there. And she was more than just our mother, Charles. She was our coach. When we was growing up, my mother was out there on the baseball field teaching us how to catch balls, telling us about, doing all things, both in our lives and on the field. She was our coach. She taught us sports. She led us as our coach, and she showed us the value of teamwork, discipline, and perseverance. Never did I ever see my mom get up. Despite my mom, Charles, having a third grade education, and this is the very thing that people might not understand. My mom was, number one, legally blind, and my mom had a third grade education. But my mom was one of the smartest women that I've ever in my life met. She worked tireless, Charles, all her life, cleaning homes for white folks and serving as a custodian at our high school. But there was more than just a job title to her, Charles. She was a woman of wisdom. She was a woman of resourcefulness. She was a quiet strength. My mother, when she spoke, she meant business. I will tell you that. And everybody in our community knew my mother and respected her. She proved that intelligence just isn't found in formal education. It's how you navigate life. It's how you provide for your family. It is how you teach lessons that cannot be taught in textbooks. And Charles, I tell anybody this, all my cousins who my mom reared and raised in the home. It was a lot of kids came in and out of our home that my mom and dad raised and taught. I never seen my mom depressed, sad, or anything, despite having to work many jobs, 2 jobs, sometime and 3 jobs. Sometime I saw my mama worked. She always had hot meals on the table for us 3 times a day. Never, never ever letting us go to bed hungry, telling us we're gonna get this and we're gonna eat whatever she put down for us. But she was a strong woman. You know, I tell people she wasn't educated, but she made sure you had an education. So that was one of the persons that really helped me. And then I looked at my grandmother, Leola Sam. She was a powerhouse in her own right. Man, my grandmother, Charles, she was about business. She owned her own home. Listen, back in the 50s, my grandmother had some businesses. She owned her own homes, and she was a Black woman that faced countless barriers of property ownership. Because y'all know they didn't want us to own anything back in the 50s and 60s, but she did. She was financially independent. She had her own vehicles. She taught every one of her grandchildren how to drive a car. We didn't have no license, Charles, but we used to fly up and down the highway. She made decisions. Yes, she did. I ain't gonna tell y'all that. In the country we drove. She made decisions, Charles, that empowered our family. She just didn't work as a maid for wealthy white people. She worked for senators in the state of Louisiana. She knew some secrets too, but she taught us everything that she knew. And back in the 60s, when she worked for John Hayes, a senator back then, she took control of her own destination. She built a legacy, not just for herself, but for her family. She taught us the value of ownership, responsibility, and being independent. I tell anybody, I think I got a lot of that from her. She just didn't wait for things to come her way, opportunities to come her way. She created opportunities for my family, and she made sure that we knew how to stand on our own, take up for ourselves, and teaching us practical skills like driving, and more importantly, she taught us how to navigate life, Charles, with confidence and determination. Yes, that's why I have so much confidence in myself and determined that I can do anything. But these 2 women, Charles, were more than just role models to me. They were my warriors. They faced hardship head on. They never made excuses in my sight. They never backed down from anything or anyone. They taught me that no matter what you start in life, you had to be determined to finish. I told you in my military career, I wanted to give up plenty of time. While I was in leadership capacity, wanted to give up plenty of time. But I could hear their voice, never give up. Their sacrifice, their vision, their wisdom, their love shaped me to be a leader, a mom, and the veteran that I am today. And I honor them not just by words, Charles, but by actions. Every day, I'm carrying forward the lesson that they taught me. I break barriers because of my grandmother and my mother, and I'm making sure that their legacy live on. The torch that I carry high is because of those women that I saw break their back to make sure that I had everything, not just me, but my family, my siblings, and others had everything that they ever desire. And that's why my mom and my grandmother are truly my warrior heroes.
That leads right into this next question. How did Myrtle Washington's or Leola Sam's experiences influence your decision to pursue your career path?
My mom was a person, child. She used to tell us, I didn't get a lot of education because of things that happened back in the 40s or 50s whenever she came up. But she said that my mom always said, I want to make sure you are better than me. And I used to ask her, I said, well, how can that be? Because you good, in a child's eye, your mom is better than anybody. Your mom is Superwoman without a cape. Because the TV shows that we used to watch when a white woman was Superwoman, and she used to have some braces on her that used to stop stuff in traffic and cars. Shoot, I'm like, man, my mama could do all that, and she not on TV. My mama could whip up a meal for a king, go to work, come back home, chop down a tree, do all kind of other things, and all of a sudden she ain't even Superwoman, but she's my hero. So it taught me that I didn't have to watch TV, Charles, to see a hero. I saw one every day and didn't complain. My hero never complained. She just shined. So I had the best world in my mom, and same with my grandmother. My grandmother, my grandmother's a pistol. When I tell you a pistol, child, that woman had money, and I didn't realize my grandmother had it all. She knew some secrets, and my grandma made things happen back then in the 60s and 50s. And I didn't know it until I grew up and really understood. Wow, wow, this woman was intelligent.
So, in what ways did they embody the qualities of resilience and leadership that you strive for today?
Actually, I don't quit. I don't quit, child. I don't care what nobody tell me. Listen, my grandmother taught me I was a queen in my own right. In our family, we have the names Charles, Evelyn, George, Katherine. Let me see. Evelyn, Charles, Katherine, George, and Edwards, named after kings and queens. Early in our life, they told us who we were. They spoke life into us. We were given the names of kings and queens because they was empowering us to be just who they called us to be. Kings and queens, they name us after great people, telling us we were going to be great all our life. So when seeds are planted inside of you, you can't help but be great because they making you great. They telling you, I was named after Queen Katherine the Great. I am the greatest of all. Ain't nobody after me. They broke the mold with it. And my grandmother used to tell me, can't nobody be you. You can only be yourself. Regardless. She lift up your head, little girl. She used to tell me, lift up your head, little girl. Look up and speak to people. Look them in the eye. And when your grandma tell you, look white folks in the eye back in the 60s, you do just that. Look them in the eye. Okay, I got you. And you do it. Because she's telling you, when you go in the store and you buy my tobacco, or you getting what I need, look him in the eye and tell him what you want. Hand him the money and make him hand you the money back. Hold out your hand. Don't put it on the counter. Make him hold that money back. And that's what she taught us.
So can you share specific lessons you learned from Myrtle Washington and Leola Sam that have guided you in your personal and professional life?
Oh, yeah. My mama was one of them, both of them. I can beat you. And so can life. My mama and my grandmother used to say, I can whip you harder than life can. In other words, if they would take a belt and whip you, that was a tough beating. And if you ever got whipped with a stanchion car, belt, broom, shoe, whatever they took and threw at you, you got whipped with it, then you knew that life couldn't do nothing to you because you done got whipped by the best.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be real and honest with people right now. Honey, back in them days, in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, whatever flew they way. Well, I left home in the 80s, but whatever flew they way in the 60s and 70s is what you got hit by. If they pick up a stanchion car because you running through there and take a lap at the end and knock you out and leave a mark on your back, okay. Or if they get you up at night out of bed and whip you because you think they forgot about doing something, tell you to go get the tree, go to the tree and get the switches off the tree and start braiding them yourself because you finna get whipped by them, baby. That's one of the hardest whippings in life you gonna ever get. Like, if you ever got whipped like that, then you know that you can face life because life can't whip you no harder than them. And then gonna tell you, this gonna hurt me more than it hurt you. And I used to say, out and you killing me. You used to say, Mama, you telling me that, but oh, baby, no, honey. And my mama used to say, I'm gonna whip you till Jesus come. You start praying, Jesus, please come quick. Please come quick. But that's just things that taught you that life is going to do some damage to you. But I'm going to teach you that if I get you, then you ain't got to worry about life getting you. I'm teaching you lessons. And I'm going to tell you some, Charles, to be honest with you. We joke and we laugh. But mom and them done things for our good. The lessons that they taught us, the whippings that we got, today most kids can't take that. Because you ever break their backs and whip them the way they whipped us. I'm calling 911. My mom used to say, I am 9 and I'm the 1 and the 1. Because everybody in the town knew your mama and your grandmama and them. So it didn't matter who you called. Didn't matter who you called. You might as well call Jesus and tell him, Jesus, come get me, because they sure sending me to you. and kept going with it. But they taught us that I'd rather whip you and teach you this hard lesson than somebody hurt you. And that's the lessons that I was taught. My mom said, I'm going to get you and I'm going to make sure that life don't get you, because she wanted the best for us. And I'm going to tell y'all, when you look back over it, I look back on all that they taught me, all my mom and my grandmother taught me. They might have been hard on me, but they molded me to be the person that I am today. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every whipping I ever caught, because it taught me that, Katherine, I'm making you strong so nobody else wouldn't have to whip you. And trust me, nobody else ain't gonna whip me, Charles.
And final question.
Okay.
How important is it for women, especially Black women, to have role models like Myrtle and Leola?
Wow. So, Charles, if we don't have anyone to look up to today, then we'll start looking down. And I say that because if you look at the world, and the songs that people sing about women being bad names, I'm gonna just say it like that.
Yes.
If young girls keep hearing that's all we are, B's and H's and and this and that, if people start calling us things that we really not, then that's who we become. So my mother and them, I told you, we got names as kings and queens. We was told that I'm gonna whip you so nobody else wouldn't have to whip you. We were taught how to drive. We was taught life skills. We was taught, I know how to sew. I know how to cook. So does my brothers. I know how to change brakes. I know how to do other things. So does my brothers. But my family back then was the dynamics of what a family should be, because we were taught how to be a family and how to survive. And so in today's society, we have to implant seeds of positive role models into these young ladies and tell them, don't let people call you out of your name. You have a name that was given to you by your parent. Let people use that name. If someone is calling you other than that name, correct them and say, my name is, and give them your name. When we become professional people, doctors and lawyers and hosts like you are today, we have to let people know who we are and what we stand for, because people don't want us to be in position and empowerment anyway. But we have to let them know who we are and let our children, our younger children, see who we are and the struggle that has brought us to these positions, and why we are speaking out, and why we are advocating, and why we are fighting for our place, because we belong. And if we don't teach them now, then this world, the way it's going, with who's in place, will bring us back to where we used to be. So we have to teach one another that we're better than what they say we are. And my mother and my grandmother taught me that, because they say I'm a gal. Back in the 60s, they used to call us gals. My mom and dad say, you're not a gal. Your name is Katherine. And when they call you other than that, let them know, ma'am, sir, my name is Katherine. And even today, I tell people, I am Dr. Katherine Washington Williams.
So Is there anything you'd like to leave for our audience to learn from this wonderful experience, especially Women's Month,
Yes.
that you want them to know how to connect with you, your social media handles, all of
Yes.
those things?
Yes. So on social media, because we could get hacked all the time, I'm under Katherine Williams. Please contact me, or either Katherine Washington Williams. Look for one of those, or Katherine Williams. I think it is now because I got hacked. But if you really want to connect with me, you can go to Sigma, SIGMA Poodle 3 at gmail.com and connect with me there. Or you can go to Connections with a K, ONNECTIONSDRK, Connections Dr. K at gmail.com. And you can follow me on Facebook, or you can go to Chestnut AMEZ church, and you can connect with me on the church. And then one of the things before we leave, Charles, I want to tell young people about people in general about Women History Month. We have to celebrate women. We have to celebrate women. We are the mothers. We are the sisters. We are the leaders. We are the ones that bring joy, encouragement, and strength to this world. Keep showing our faces everywhere you go. Keep talking us up. Keep lifting us up, because we are the world. We are tomorrow. We are the future. And we are leaders in our community. So if you have a woman in your life, whether your mother, your sister, your daughter, somebody that did some empowerment in your life, go to them and tell them you love them and you appreciate them, because they did a beautiful job when I look at you.
Well, there you guys have it. Here at the end of Women's History Month, you guys just heard Dr. Katherine Williams just give you guys a lot of groundbreaking situations to her career as not only an army veteran, but also from being a pastor to being in the mental health profession. She has made these strides that have made impacts on plenty of people's lives at every stage of her career. So now that she is Dr. Katherine Williams, what we have to realize is that there's not one young lady out here today that can't learn not one thing from this lesson that we just got.
Amen.
These are the examples that plenty of our young girls and all of our communities need to be looking at and getting an understanding as to how to best pursue careers that they want to go into, but how to maneuver and live their lives in a peaceful, respectful manner. So for all of you that were watching on the YouTube channel, we ask, if you have not, if you would please do us the honor of actually subscribing, getting the notifications to where you can watch each and every show. We broadcast live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. And we definitely want to have you watching the show, because what we're here to do is we're here to put out the great information, to motivate, to inspire, to grow, and to connect our communities, to make them as one unified community to do the things that they should be doing. So you all have a great evening. Please come back and see us tomorrow night as we have another great show. I want to thank you again, Dr. Katherine Washington Williams, for being here.
Thank you.
We definitely appreciate you, and you all have a great evening, and we will see you all tomorrow night.
Yeah.